Okay, so just look at some probability questions where we have like multi-stage events. So the probability of A and B happening is the probability of A times the probability of B. And C or D, if they're two separate events and there's nothing that overlaps between them, it's the probability of C or D. It's the probability of C plus the probability of D. Okay, so first of all, let's just look at, if we want the probability of getting at least one head, that will be 1 minus the probability of no heads. So that's 1 minus the probability of tail, 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 which is 1 minus a half times a half times a half. So that's going to be 1 minus 1 on 8th, which is 7 on 8. Okay, so Jack and Jill go for a driving test. Jack has an 80% chance of passing and Jill has a 75% chance of passing. What is the probability, if they both go for the test, that they both pass? So we want the probability that Jack passes and Jill passes. So that would be 80% times 75%. Okay, you just need to work that out in your calculator. You can also do it as a decimal if you wanted to, 0.8 times 0.75 and get it like that as well. Okay, so only one passes, all right? So let's say that's Jack and that's Jill. So I probably should do some, so we go Jack passes and Jill passes. Okay, so if you want Jack passes and Jill passes. No, we only want one of them passes. So Jack passes and Jill doesn't pass. Okay, so Jack passing would be 80% and Jill doesn't pass, that would be 75%. Now we don't actually need to do it in the other order for this one because Jack and Jill are just people and they either pass or they fail. So the order here doesn't actually really matter because they're both going for the same test. Okay, and part 3, at least one of them passes. So if you did at least one passes, it's better to do 1 minus the probability that none of them passes. So if you're doing none of them passes, so none of them passes would be, okay, Jack doesn't pass, that would be 1 minus 20% times 25%. So you just put that in your calculator and work that out. You can do 1 minus 0.2 times 0.25. Okay. And part 4, at most one pass. Okay, so let's see then. We've got at most one passes. So we could go at most one passes means that none of them pass, or, which is a plus, one passes. Okay, so that would be, none of them passes, would be 0.2 times 0.75. So that's just like, let's just get this straight to Jack passes, that would be 0.8, and Jack doesn't pass. I'll put a line across it, that would be 0.2. And Jill passes, that would be 0.75, but Jill doesn't pass, that would be 0.25. Okay, so the other thing is if only at most one passes, so you don't want two of them passing, that would be at most one passes, that would be okay, so we could have Jack passes, so you could Jack pass and Jill no, or you could have Jack is a no and Jill is a yes.